Spirit Lake is one of 27 lakes that are connected together here in the North Woods of Wisconsin. And this weekend, it's where the world's fastest snowmobile drag racers have gathered to chase the prize and the glory that comes with winning the biggest event on their schedule, the World Finals. Hi, everybody. I'm Ralph Sheheen alongside my frozen buddy over here, Ken Stout, and it is getting chilly out here, Ken. And this weekend, as we said, the best drag racers on snowmobiles are here for all the marbles, the World Finals.
Yeah, 100%. It is not too bad just yet. The wind has started to pick up. It is cooling off pretty quickly. To put it in numbers, it's about 40 degrees, but it's cooling off quickly. They'll be competing on what the term that they use is mashed potatoes. That's how they feel this track will be because the sun was out. It was about 45 degrees today. It was pretty warm, but it's dropping quickly, as Ralph indicated there. We'll have a 20 to 25 degree drop, and then tomorrow the high is going to be about 14 degrees. So the point I'd like to make here is the track is going to be completely different tomorrow. It will be hard, frozen tomorrow. They'll be on a soft, mushy track here tonight. I do want to mention that we have a couple of more Outlaw sleds that are here. The Gibbous clan is here. They have both the Hulk and the Spider-Man. One is turbocharged, one is supercharged, both on nitro. And some guy named Daryl Cuddle is here. So we welcome Daryl here to the show as well. A big 1400cc supercharged sled. It's going to be a lot of fun to watch.
So we are in the middle of a frozen lake, and covering all the action for us on the ice and in the snow is Dani Medin.
This is such a different setup from the St. Germain a few weekends ago, guys. The weather is completely different. I actually have my face to the wind right now. From talking to the guys earlier, there could be about a 1 second slower time today. With this wind, I think that's going to be one of the biggest battles. On top of this was even to make this show happen. Mother Nature really wasn't in our favor. Chad actually told me earlier that we had to make 2 tracks to make this happen. So over the course of 4 days, another 4 days got us right here. Over the course of a couple hours, this track has gotten so hard. I had this jelly donut concept in my head when I walked out here earlier, and it has completely changed. So the strategy is going to be completely different from today from today to tomorrow, guys. It is going to be an awesome show on the snow. I am so ready. Are you guys?
I got to tell you, Ken, between you talking about mashed potatoes and her talking about jelly donuts, I'm getting hungry.
So let's talk about what we're going to see here tonight, Ralph. We're going to have 3 full sessions.
Yep.
The Outlaw category will qualify. They'll put some numbers, and as we get them, we'll fill you in. And then, of course, the other 2 categories will also put in a couple of test sessions.
And right now we're going to honor our flag with the playing of our national anthem.
We ask you to remove your hats for the playing of our Canadian national anthem and then the playing of our United States national anthem.
Oh, say.
with that, thank you so much.
All right, and we are ready to get things underway here with the Snow Outlaws. The IHRA, the International Hot Rod Association, and the Snow Outlaws coming together to put on the World Finals this year. And this is going to be a wild night of activity here. Of course, this is just qualifying. Eliminations coming tomorrow when we will crown the world champions. But tonight should be absolutely visually spectacular, Ken, as we watch these sleds run under the lights here on this frozen lake.
Yeah, looking forward to it for sure. There's some of the rules there, if you want to call them that, for the Outlaw category. And it looks like right off the bat, Dominic Ernst will be lined up here with the Eagle One, and he'll line up alongside R. Dustin, part of the Hogan Racing Team. We have to thank the Hogan Racing Team for all the hospitality this weekend as well. Two really strong sleds right here. You can see how soft that track was at the starting line.
Look at the snow just flying behind these machines as they blast through the 500 feet of snow, packed and groomed.
Dominic Ernst, of course, that Eagle One sled, the fastest sled, or quickest sled, I should say, on the planet, has been 3.26 seconds, 164.95 mile per hour. That is the sled nearest you, obviously, with the Eagle on the front.
Straight at you, and look at that beautiful run. Perfectly executed all the way down. You see the front end get up just a bit as they take off, and then it plants right back, and he is just digging through the snow and headed forward. The chutes come out, and a great way for Dominic to start off his weekend here at Spirit Lake. And we move on now to our second pair, Ethan Earhart and Daryl Cuttle. That's Daryl Cuttle right there on that Kawasaki-powered machine, and you can see the staging, the way they do it here, Ken, is the crew members will actually pick the machine up and position you right where you want to be.
Yeah, no doubt.
Daryl lowers the visor, ready to go.
This is his first time on this sled. Daryl Cuttle on a monster of a sled right here.
1,400 invaders, what it's known as, and there they go. Earnhardt with a good run, and looks like some teething issues maybe for Daryl Cuttle's machine, as that's the first pass they've made on it all year.
Well, I mean, keep in mind, I think he squeezed on the throttle there, and I think rightfully so. I mean, we're talking about a 1,300 horsepower sled, first time he's been on it. So it's one of those things where you have to respect that machine that you're on, and I think he did a really nice job, man.
That Hyper Sports machine of Earhart, no problems for him.
Yeah, tuner Aaron Miller right there on for Daryl Cuttle as well, as you were talking about. Hyper Sports built machine, so plenty of horsepower as we take a look at the unique combination of the Tasmania with that twin underneath the hood, if you will, underneath the cowling.
Yep, Jonathan Lensko.
Last time we saw him, of course, he was lined up alongside Dominic Ernst and the Eagle One. It was round number 2 of eliminations at St. Germain, and unfortunately, they had an ECU mishap, and it dumped the chute right at the hit of the throttle.
And this is going to be a really interesting pair, because he's going to go up alongside Tyson Anderson, and Tyson is on that compressed air system snowmobile.
Yeah, what a unique combination that thing is. We had a chance to get up close and personal to it here today, and it's compressed air on the back of that sled. It acts like a supercharger without using the horsepower to turn a supercharger.
Now,
there's
that's
a look
not
at
Lenskow. No, it's not the Lenskow sled. It's the other one over there, the green one.
Yep,
that
we
we'll
were
be talking about.
Oh, that's the Hulk. It looks like, is it the Hulk on the lineup alongside of him?
It's supposed to be Anderson.
Yeah, we have down on our pairing that it's going to be.
Doesn't mean that's the way they're going to do it.
Anderson. If not, that is Kelly Schultz on the Hulk, which is a Larry Gibbous-owned machine.
And they have two in that Gibbous gang. They got Spider-Man machine and the Hulk. Now here comes the compressed air machine to the far right. Tyson Anderson in the left lane.
Yeah, if you look at their sweatshirts, it says ISH Racing. We asked, what does that stand for? And they said, ish, like we're goodish.
Pretty fast-ish. Let's see. It was goodish off the line. Lenskow's going to be first one to the far end, but the compressed air machine got down the track smoothly as well, I think, Ken. Not bad for a first pass.
Well, yeah, and they were goodish at our previous event because they are the defending winners from Lake St. Germain. So we know that that sled can get it done. I really think tonight we heard a number of these guys. They just want to go from point A to point B, make sure everything is sorted out.
Yeah. Let you enjoy the sound. "60-foot clouds of snow getting kicked up into the air behind these machines as they rocket away from the starting line."
Yeah, I had a chance to talk to Lensko as well. Keep in mind they had that turbocharged twin underneath the cowling of that particular machine, and it's a lightweight combination. He's a very seasoned rider. It was a shame what happened at our previous event with the chute, so looking forward to a good running sled. It's on gas, makes about 850 horsepower. So a great combination there for Taz, and glad they had things all sorted. There's a look at it there. I mean, it's a spectacular-looking sled.
Fantastic paint job on that machine.
He and his father both racers. His father used to race drag boats, and has been pretty fast, 130 miles an hour inside of one of those.
Now we're expecting Alec Gibbs out of Lake Geneva, Wisconsin on Spider-Man, paired up with Ben Trollard out of Elgin, Michigan on the Fallout sled.
Still looking at Jonathan there with the Taz, that Cat twin, Hyper Sports prepared. Crew Chief John Ingval. First event for that sled was at our last event. Former motorcycle racer as well. We had a chance to talk to him about that a little bit. Did some sport bike racing.
Yeah, did a lot of road racing and variety of different things.
And I've got to think something probably happened to the sled here.
Well, Ken, with this event, of course, comes all the glory of being crowned a world champion, but there is some pretty good cash on the line as well.
Yeah, $6,000 there to the champion, of course, in the big dog class with the Outlaws. $3,000 to the runner-up. You go down to the Pro 55s, which would be a 55-millimeter turbo, $3,000 and $1,500. Then $2,250 and $1,200 for the Pro Mods. And they are the slowest of the group, but they are by no means slow.
No.
They are very, very fast.
Don't mistake that.
Yes.
In any way, shape,
Probably
or form.
should come up with a better term than that. That's my bad. They're very, very competitive, and it's great. But they're a great class because you can hop on it, drive it right back to the trailer. Not a whole lot of maintenance between rounds. Get it ready to come right back for the next session.
There's Gibbs right there on Spider-Man.
Yeah, tuned by Shane Tecklenburg, a premier tuner in the drag racing world. Really, really good with turbochargers. This particular machine here.
Look at that. Fired up and ready to go. And Alec looks focused. The HRC4 turbo, nitro powered.
Yep. On 30% nitro.
Three Lakes shootout back in 2024.
The supercharged version from this team runs 60% nitro. But Shane T had a chance to tune both of these things back to back, both sleds, and was able to get this turbocharged sled to run a little bit better, actually very comparable to the supercharged sled in the front half of the track, which is their nemesis.
Trollard right here on the Hypersport machine.
Front
Charger HRC4, and the chute comes out early for Ben. And if you lift off the throttle just to 80% throttle, that chute's coming out right away.
Yeah, some guys do have timers. Some guys do have exactly what you just talked about there, and I think that's what it looked like to me as well. He got out of the throttle there a little bit early. As soon as he got out of the throttle, the chutes came out.
Yeah, you could hear him get off of it a little bit there, Ken.
Yeah, the front end came up nicely. It was going nice and straight. I wonder if it was a planned shutoff because everything looked really good.
Nice run for Lake Geneva, Wisconsin's Alec Gibbs on Spider-Man. And we move on to Kelly Schultz and Mike Sweeney. Kelly's on the Hulk right here out of Bloomer, Wisconsin. Larry Gibbs owns this sled as well. HRC4, supercharged on nitro. And Mike Sweeney Jr. from Thomaston, Connecticut. on a sled known as El Jefe. Hypersports machine, HRC4.
Yeah, saw Sweeney running out in the back a little bit earlier today. They had a hat race. They had a bunch of guys out there just having some fun on what they would call what looks like track sleds, but they make 800 horsepower. But Sweeney, one of those natural drivers, does a lot of motorcycle drag racing as well. We look forward to watching him. First time we've seen him here so far this year, along with with Alec Gibbous as well.
That's Sweeney right there. These sleds in this outlaw category can be 12 to 14 feet in length.
So Kelly Schiltz will line up alongside out of Bloomer, Wisconsin. Shane Tecklenburg also the tuner on this one.
Schiltz, right side of your screen. On the Hulk, the green machine. El Jefe is what Sweeney is riding. On the left side of your screen, the right lane. Light comes on, they go. Picking up the front, putting it back down, and a great run for Sweeney on El Jefe.
Sweeney hanging it out there. 2023 Asphalt Pro Mod champ. He knows how to get one done. Former winner in the Outlaw category at Heydays, which is on the grass. And you can see the front end up on that one. He's had seat time all day long today. So he got on this monster, though, and felt very comfortable. It picked up the front end and just charged to the other end. It looked great.
The machine was ready. Sweeney was ready. And El Jefe puts in the best pass of the night so far. And look at that, come flying by through the lights.
Give you an idea of what 150 miles an hour plus looks like.
Jagger Ashley supposed to make a solo run here on the Farmall. Well, actually on Demon is what's supposed to be up next. And then we're supposed to get to Pro 55 right after that.
And, of course, Jagger having a
that's
tough,
where we'll see Farmall.
He had a tough go of it in this category at Lake St. Germain. But in Pro Mod, things were a good bit better for him.
Yeah, and Jagger's part of the Mustakas Racing Squadron. And, I mean, they do bring a whole host of machines with him. Jagger scheduled to run in all three categories again here.
And we have to thank the Mustakas Racing team for some goodies.
Oh,
they
baby.
brought us. You called him out last time, and of course,
encouraged, I think, is a better
term.
There
you go. They own
begging, maybe.
They own a diner. Well, I think they own a couple of diners up there in the
Greek
Poughkeepsie,
restaurant,
New York area. Yeah, the Greek diners, and he brought us some fabulous food that we can't wait to dig into.
And here goes Jagger. Let's see how he does. Oh, that's a solid run.
It did not sound good at the end. I think something broke on that thing.
No, but it got all the way down the track and was powering all the way through until it let go right when he let off the throttle. It sounded like, Ken.
We'll have Dani check in with them.
That is the Demon.
Appropriately named.
Yeah.
A soft leave there.
Look at it start to pick up the front. Gets it back down, and he went all the way through, I think, just before it started to hurt itself. So that'll do it for the Outlaws, and we move on to Pro 55. And here, the first pairing should be Scott Kostman. Kostman out of Wilson, Wisconsin on the Farmall. And he's going to be paired up with Jesse Bruns out of Freeland, Michigan. Here's a look at the class info. Improved fuels, what you can do. Methanol injection, 2 strokes, can run on any gasoline. These guys will line up and get ready to run. Kostman on the Farmall using a Hypersports engine on an HRC2 chassis. Glenn Hall spins the wrenches for him. 6-time Heydays Pro 55 winner on the grass. First place, the Great Lakes Pro 55 winner as well. Here we go. Pro 55s down the track. And a good run. It looked like for Jesse Bruns. No, that was actually Kostman in the Farmall. The left lane.
Yeah, sled coming in at 750 pounds there. Another Hyper Sports machine. tuner Glenn Hall on this one. Both sleds digging nicely. Scott Kostman out of Hershey, Wisconsin. Sled owned by Chad and Jenny Knifus. And, of course, as you talked about, Jesse Bruns on the other side there out of Freeland, Michigan.
So Kyle Viney out of Deerfield, Wisconsin on a machine known as Bad Attitude. Looks like she's having a great time. And David Thibault out of Dryden, Ontario, Canada. Here with us on a machine known as Soulless. So, Bad Attitude, Viney's machine. An Arctic Cat powered by a Suzuki.
Yeah, Suzuki 1177cc badness right there going on. Named Bad Attitude, 750-pound sled there. Crew Chief Jim Cron on that one.
And Ken, it's a good combination. They were runner-up at the Snow Outlaw event just a couple of weeks ago, which you saw right here in our Speed Sport Air 2026 St. Germain.
Yes.
Here we go. Great run for Viney in the left lane. As we zoom in on his machine, Bad Attitude. So the success continues for him. Looked like Thibault had a little bit of issues on Soulless, though, getting out of the box. Did not want to go right away. He hit the button and nothing happened. Well, not much, at least. Look at the difference in the spray behind them. I'll tell you how much, which one's putting down the most power.
Yeah, if they can go full throttle or not, that rooster tail tells you a lot.
Ryan Santry will be up in the left lane out of Mokina, Illinois. He's got a Hypersports chassis powered by a Yamaha 1127 cc's.
Yeah, he's a multi-time Snow Outlaws champ in both Outlaw and Pro 55, a Heydays champ as worlds as well. So Santry, a seasoned vet.
But boy, he's got his hands full in this pairing. He's got Brian Sullivan out of Sparta, Wisconsin. Again, just qualifying. The John Deere sled, that's a tough one. 7-time Snow Outlaw champion.
Yeah, he was a buzzsaw at Lake St. Germain for sure, and was our winner there when everything was said and done inside of this category. He's as tough as they come.
3 rounds of qualifying here tonight, setting up the field for eliminations tomorrow here at Spirit Lake, 3 Lakes, Wisconsin. And here's Santry in the left lane. Beautiful Yamaha anniversary colors.
Great looking sled.
Oh, yeah, very sharp.
Comes in a little bit heavier than Sullivan, 765 pounds. It's based on the engine combination.
Multi-time Snow Outlaw champion in the Pro 55 category. And here he comes, and you can see why he's so good. That machine runs solid all 500 feet.
And no Sullivan alongside.
No, not sure what happened to the John Deere machine, which is shocking because at the last race at St. Germain, it was as consistent, maybe the most consistent machine on the lake that day.
Another look, you can see the turbo there hanging off the right front side. Or at least the inlet, I would think. Really good looking sled. A pretty nice solid out of the box hit.
Next up, scheduled to be Josh Borman out of Preston, Iowa. Another one of the Moustakis racing entries. Proline chassis with a Yamaha power to it. Paired up alongside Jagger Ashley on the other Moustakis racing machine. Yamaha power and a Pro Stock Incorporated chassis. That should be Jagger there.
Off the sled so they can set the track where they want it. Yeah, and a couple of those sleds, and I believe this is one of them for the Mustakis Racing Camp that has a Roush power plant in it. That beautiful blue sled right there.
There they go. Yeehaw! Nice run for both machines. A little bit better for Jagger. As Ashley gets to the other end first with the Yamaha power plant.
Yeah, Barman picking up the front end. I mean, it was to the point that I think he had to get out of the throttle just a bit. Pro-Line chassis for him and a Yamaha Pro Stock incorporated chassis for Jagger Ashley. And I think that's important to mention, Ralph, because there's so many Hypersport chassis out here.
Absolutely. Both these machines utilizing Yamaha power.
Craig Campton in Hypersports. I mean, no doubt he is a phenomenal builder at the highest levels of the game in NHRA Pro Stock for many, many years. And the snowmobile side of the business just continued to grow. They finally decided they were going to build 2 sleds. Well, now they're on number 64, I think it is. But he welcomes the competition from people like Pro Stock Inc. and Pro-Line to get other chassis builders out here and into this game. He doesn't want it to be all him. He wants other people to come out here and he wants to compete.
Yeah. Just saw today Yamaha talking about moving their entire corporate headquarters here in the U.S. out of Southern California, moving them to Georgia.
Wow.
That'll change things for a few racers. Chris Young scheduled to be up next at a Bear Creek, Wisconsin, on what should be a solo pass on the sled known as Reaper.
Yeah, I had a couple. He does have a couple different entries, but is running Reaper here. I believe ran Reaper, the same sled that he ran at St. Germain. Tuner here in Nate Dembski.
Suzuki Arctic engine on a Hypersports chassis. There he goes.
Nice straight effort. Nice shot.
Yeah, he was pretty good at St. Germain. Had a little bit of issue late in the eliminations, but gets through the first pass here. 3 Lakes without much problem. Nice looking helmet. Look at that. The helmet fitting of a guy who's riding something known as a Reaper. The way the light hit the fascia, looked like his eyes lit up inside too. Ominous look for Chris Young. And he might be ominous for the competition this weekend too. On to Pro Mod. And in this first pair, we should be seeing Jagger Ashley again. Here's a look at what you can do if you want to run Pro Mod.
Yeah, as you can see there, any OEM engine platform, and of course you'll have to run that stock size turbo. That's the difference between this class and the Pro 55, where they're allowed a little larger turbo. 4 strokes, 2 strokes. No power adders, though. No nitrous oxide, as you can see there. They're all on gasoline. So, yeah, a little bit different here for these competitors, and they have a lot of different engine combinations, and it's all adjusted by weight. So whatever your combination may be, they probably have something for you here if you'd like to come out and give it a shot.
Here's a look at the weight requirements for Pro Mod. And as you pointed out, Ken, it's just about any conceivable combination you can think of.
Yeah, something there for everybody. 2 cylinders, 4 cylinders, 3 cylinders, and all the different weight combinations along the way.
I didn't see Husky listed on there, so you and I might be out. So here's Candace Down out of Foxborough, Ontario, Canada, on Cruel Intentions, one of the fast ladies of the sport.
Tuner is her husband, Casey Down. She's a 2025 Pro Mod Challenge Heydays champ, 2025 Pro Mod winner at Cantley in Quebec. Also a Pro Mod winner at Labrador, Newfoundland.
She's a tough competitor. She's got Jagger Ashley to her left and Candace putting together a great run. Powered all the way through the lights. I think she's going to be very happy with that as a first pass tonight.
Yeah, and of course, Jagger with such a great run going to the final round at our previous event here in this category. Said he loves his sled. As you take a look at Candace.
Sled known as Cruel Intentions. You can see Jagger's kinds of twists as it comes off the line. Right there. You see that?
Yeah, he's got a lot of body motion. He was definitely trying to get that thing to do something. He just wasn't completely happy with it, and I'm sure they'll go to work on that. Again, I think we have to really talk about this track. It's going to be super soft today in comparison to what they'll be racing on, as you mentioned, even later tonight, but for sure tomorrow.
Yeah, as Ken pointed out in the open, it's supposed to be about 15 degrees for a high tomorrow. So it's going to be cold all night long, all day tomorrow. It's going to be really frozen solid. And you can see the water around here on the lake tonight from some of the slush from the heat of the sun beating down on the snow all day today. Here we're going to see Corey Sullivan in the left lane and Nate Bay in the right lane. Corey out of Sparta, Wisconsin. Nate out of Canandaigua, New York.
Yeah, stock chassis here for both of these riders. Arctic Cat 998 engines, both weighing in at 775 pounds.
Sullivan on a good one. And Bay follows through about a half a sled behind.
Yeah, good hit, and I'm sure they're not really trying to knock down the tree or get on a light here. I mean, you want to practice like you race, but there could have been a starting line advantage there. Both sleds look pretty close.
And remember, there was no practice of any kind earlier today, so these are literally the first passes these racers have made all day long. They've been out here since the morning, loading in onto the lake, getting everything set up and ready to go. They warmed up their machines outside of their trailers, but that's it. Outside of the couple of racers that went over and did the hat race, which, you know, Ken, might be a bit of an advantage tonight to dialing yourself in a little bit quicker, just having had a run or two on anything, right?
Yeah, I mean, I think any seat time, no matter what it is going to help you out as a driver. But, I mean, a lot of those guys, like Art Dustin was over there, he's an incredibly talented setup guy. So he's going to go over there and get a feel for it, kind of know what the track is going to be like to set his sled up and come out here and what to expect as a driver as well. And he was by far not the only one that was out there.
Next pair rolling in, this will be Dan Bickle in the left lane and Frank Whitleaf over here in the right lane, closest to us. Bickle's out of Davenport, Iowa. The Yamaha engine and the Arctic Cat Procross chassis. And Frank out of Byron, Minnesota on a sled known as Cheeto.
Looks like Cheeto's going to get it done.
Yeah, the Yamaha engine, Proline Performance chassis, and Cheeto looking pretty strong.
Yeah, if memory serves, we did a nice interview with him at Lake St. Germain, and creative name for that thing. Love it. Pretty colorful personality.
Wasn't he joking, calling it Ozempic Racing at a team name?
Yeah.
Listen to him. That's the best sounding Cheeto I've ever heard. Just whistling down that 500 feet track.
You can hear those turbos chirp as they get out of the throttle as well.
Paul Grotti is on Warden out of Columbus, Michigan in the left lane. Matched up with Jimmy Trumbull on the Crumb, one of the Hogan Racing entries. And those Hogan sleds have a lot of practice over here since their headquarters is literally across the street.
Yeah, very instrumental here with this entire event. Can't thank them enough for all of their support. They invited our whole crew over. Probably be 100 people over there at his shop tonight when everything is said and done.
Far lane over there, the white and orange, that's where you'll find Grotti. And in the near lane over here is Jimmy Trumbull on the Crumb. There they go. evenly matched pair until they got to the far end. Then it looked like Karate just slowed down a little bit. I don't know if he just eased out of it or if it was just that much better for Trumbull and the Crumb.
Yeah, set on the entry sheet for Grotti, 2000cc 4-cylinder tuned by Paul and Grant Mazes. But when you listen to it, it sounds like a 2-stroke.
Sure does.
So I wonder if they changed something. I'm pretty sure it was a 2-stroke when we were at St. Germain.
You can
see
hear
the smoke there. That's a no-brainer.
Yeah, and you can hear he lifts right about here. Hear it? Just a little bit of a crack of the throttle, and I think that might have been the difference at the far end for Grotti and Trumbull. And one sled left to go here in our opening round of qualifying tonight at the World Finals here in Three Lakes, Wisconsin on Spirit Lake. Columbus, Michigan's Dante Grotti scheduled to be up next on his Arctic Cat with a Hooper Race Engines powered machine, 1500cc 3-cylinder, it says.
Yeah, this is the son of Paul Grotti, who we just saw. So Dante will come out here and put one together. Dante making it to round number 2 at Lake St. Germain.
Got the name Final Chapter on the sled. Here's hoping he's got a few more chapters in the book before he's done this weekend.
Let him rear back to plant that track.
Plenty of power coming off the line.
They had to set it down a little bit early. Might not have been going dead straight. For whatever reason, got out of the throttle a little bit quick.
Hard into the throttle. Let's see what it does here. Right off the line, as you mentioned, it looks like it goes up and then starts to drift to the left. And that's where he gets out of it right there. He got a little too close to the fence line, said, nah, not worth it in the first round.
Yeah, you can see he had the skis turned to the right as well. Of course, they won't do any good when they're not touching the ground. No. But that's exactly what was going on there. It just shot off to the left-hand side.
Let's go down to Dani Medina.
You know, Spider-Man was sitting there collecting some dust, so Alec decided after watching the broadcast 2 weeks ago that he wanted to show up and have some fun at Snow Outlaws. Your tuner right now is satellite. I think this is the coolest thing with this sport. I've learned so much. Talk to us about what it's like to not physically have Sheheen here helping you. I know you guys right now are waiting for some data.
We're going to make do with what we can. I mean, it is what it is, so we're going to have Sheheen satellite tune for the rest of the night. And it just takes some time with the data to get it obviously down there for him to look at it rather than him sitting here, him watching us run. So we're just going to make do with what we can tonight. So, yeah.
Now, G-Force Racing has 2 snowmobiles here this weekend. You had more experience with the Hulk sled. Kelly Schultz is on that one. What was that first pass like?
It was good. It came out slow, though, so we're hopefully going to put some more power into it after Sheheen looks at the tune and everything. We'll get a better guess of if this track spun or why it bogged down, but it came out definitely too slow. But the power coming in at half track, I think it's good.
You guys, Alec is definitely going to be somebody to watch for the rest of qualifying. He's been super excited to get back out here.
I think you're right, Dani. And, you know, Ken, one of the things I'm starting to wonder about a little bit, too, we saw a few of the sleds drifting a little bit to the left, as you can see from Dani's hair blowing in the wind out there. It's pretty breezy out there tonight, quite a few gusts. And when the gusts were coming, when we were doing our stand-up, it was across the racetrack. And I'm wondering if it's impacting how those sleds are performing at all as these riders go down the 500-foot track.
I would think if the wind was going to affect them, it would be towards the top end of the track, and they're having issues at the front end of the track. I think it's more of a soft track, that mashed potatoes, if you will, where they get in the throttle, especially like we just saw a moment ago for Dante. He leaned way back. He planted that track. It's going to spin the track a little bit, and if it leans left or leans right while it's spinning that track, in other words, puts a little more weight on one side than the other, then it's going to change the direction of that sled. And as we talked about, they can't steer them, so you're just stuck with whatever direction it's going at that point. But I think it's just a product of a soft track.
And unlike when you and I were kids and could not play with our mashed potatoes, our track crew can. They are out there right now grooming this racetrack, grooming that mashed potato surface, as you called it, packing it down, smoothing it out. And the other thing they wanted to do, Ken, is freeze up a little bit. So they'll let it, after they take care of grooming it and preparing it, they'll let it sit for a bit and hopefully let it freeze up a little bit more. And we go back to Dani.
Saint Germain, the last time we chatted, you had 3 sleds out there. You were still on 3 sleds today. One of the sleds gave you a little bit of problems that you guys were really trying to dial in what is now nicknamed the Red Rocket. How did that first pass feel on that sled today?
Actually, Josh is the one that's riding the Red Rocket over there. But he, from what I could tell, I was in the lane next to him. Mine came out a little bit harder than his did. But he said he was, as soon as he hooked up and started going, he was right there with me going through the traps down there. So, we got a little bit of tuning to do on both of them and get ready for the next round.
You had a lot of luck on the Pro Mod sled in Saint Germain. Do you already have one that you're kind of feeling is going to take it to the top again this weekend?
Obviously, I want to go 2 for 2 on the Pro Mod here, but I really would love to put that Pro 55 in the winner's circle here this weekend.
There's a lot of talk about track conditions, lane choicing, and just how different this has changed from earlier today. What are your thoughts?
Yeah, it's going to be a challenge, especially, with the weather changing tomorrow again, being much colder. That's going to be a totally different track. It's already even different from, earlier today, so it's definitely going to be a challenge.
I wanted to make this comment earlier, and it was how different this racing is from day to day. It's almost like we're running 2 different complete events in one. What kind of challenges does that make for you guys and your team?
Yeah, it's definitely tough. You got air changes, temperature changes, track condition changes. So we're always on our toes, even just the starting line, looking at different, traction patterns and seeing how the snow is reacting differently in each lane. So it's tough, but, we get through it.
Now, as a driver out there, this wind is coming at you. What does that feel like?
Yeah, it's kind of a little nerve-wracking on the top end. If you get a crosswind, it definitely sends you a little squirrely. So, we got to be on our stuff down there.
And speaking of that, in Saint Germain, Ken or Ralph made the comment that you were seeing stars. I hope we don't see that again. Good luck to you the rest of the night.
Thank you, Dani.
Yeah, he's going to be a tough one to deal with all weekend, Ken. And look at the flags blowing here, the Snow Outlaw flag. I believe that's one of the flags here at the far end of the racetrack where our booth is situated as well. And for those of you watching at home, all of the race trailers are on the left side, the far side of the racetrack. There's not much over here on the near side, the right side of the racetrack, to cut that wind down right now, Ken, as it blows across the racetrack to the far side. So they're getting a full gust as it comes across the track.
Yeah, and that's the way it felt like it was blowing, hitting us right in the face when we were doing our stand-up, and that's exactly what would happen there. And as they go past us, the entire field opens up. So, yeah, they're going to get it up there. And, we were talking to Jonathan Linsko, and he said A to B is the easy part. He said once you get to the finish line, C, he said that's when things get pretty tricky, believe it or not.
C for challenging, right? Yeah. And one of the things they said, too, is they can't just let off the throttle. They have to ease back out of that throttle. And easing into the next interview is Dani.
Jonathan Lenskow's team is right behind me. They're ripping stuff apart. They're making a lot of changes. Can you kind of talk about what's going on behind me?
So we made a full pass on that round, and I went a little bit farther than 500 foot and blew the belt. So we're just changing the belt, just doing general maintenance on it, checking everything out. We're going to detune it a little bit because the track's a little bit loose, but it's going to get hard tomorrow, and the track's going to be phenomenal. You're going to see some fast speeds tomorrow.
We were just briefly talking about how different Saint Germain is to this. How did you guys kind of set up for that type of change?
We just John Engvall just running the computer just to put a little bit more timing in it, adding a little bit more boost or taking some boost away, but it was a good solid pass. We need to pick it up a little bit on the second one, see where we're at, but so far it's looking pretty good. For the conditions, it was a pretty good pass.
Now, we made some jokes last round about you and the Iowa boy kind of having a good little battle. This is not Iowa weather in any way, shape, or form. Do you kind of have a personal preference to the type of track and the racing in here versus Saint Germain?
I would rather see it about 15 degrees out and the track a little bit harder. But the conditions are all for the same people. You just got to tune it to the track. That's all you can do. So speed, we're running good speed, but we need to pick it up a little bit more. But for the track conditions, we ran 144 that last pass, which is down a little bit to Saint Germain, but the track is a little bit loose in the middle, so we're spinning a little bit. So
From all the data you gathered just now, where do you see you finishing tomorrow if we can fast forward real quick?
Oh, well, we could advance all the way to the final, or we could get taken out in the first round. I mean, Outlaw class is a tough class, but that's what we want. We want the competition.
Qualifying just sets us up tonight for so much more action tomorrow, you guys. It is such a different experience. I'm so ready for it. Are you?
Absolutely, Dani. And I think Jonathan's going to get exactly what he's hoping for, Ken, tomorrow, because 15 degrees is about what the weatherman is forecasting for here tomorrow. And the other thing I think is so interesting, as Dani has pointed out, things are so different in St. Germain, which, oh, by the way, is only about 30 minutes from here. It's not like it's the other side of the state.
Yeah, and they worked so hard on this track. It's amazing how different things can be. They worked on this track, we were told, for 9 days prepping this track. And they're racing on snow. This is a snow-packed track that has been groomed. They actually started over where they were doing the hat race a little bit earlier today.
That's where the racetrack was like a year ago. This was the practice track.
They worked on that for 3 days, but it was just too wet. There was too much water over there, so they brought it back over here and started grooming this. Spent the next 9 days prepping it.
And one of the things I learned about that, one of them was telling me, one of the officials telling me, they had about 8 to 10 inches of snow here over the last few days during that whole prep process. And that's one of the reasons why they ended up having more water over there. So that's why they moved over here.
So, it's pretty interesting to see how these guys will adapt. By the way, we heard Jonathan talking about hurting a belt and changing a belt. They changed a belt. They put a new belt on. They cost about $200. They put a new belt on every single pass, really for consistency more than anything else. But let's talk about the belts for a moment, because these belts, there's no two alike. They come from the manufacturer. Some are a little bit wider than other ones, and they all have to be measured, mic'd, if you will, because the clutch has to be adjusted for that belt. And we're talking about a difference of 3 to 5 thousandths. So it's very, very close tolerances to get that clutch to come in and get the engine at the RPM that they want it to be at, to get it to leave. All of that stuff is super, super critical. So part of that maintenance is really a finite measurement so that they can get that clutch can exactly where they want it.
Very similar to what a sprint car racer, for example, might do when it comes to a right rear tire, looking through a batch of them to find exactly the ones that they want, because they know that batch of tires that was produced on a particular day or whatever might have cured a little bit differently than, say, one that was made a week or two later.
Or, as you know, they might be looking for, an 1/8 inch more stagger.
Absolutely.
Something of that sort, too. So you have a bunch of them. But every one of those, they have to be very, very careful with to get that clutch to activate the way they want it to.
Now, you and I have done a wide variety of – there's not much you and I have not touched as far as our broadcasting careers have gone over the years. And one of the things I've noticed with this Snow Outlaws snowmobile drag racing is that these racetracks that we compete on, only 500 feet in length, but probably more variation in the racetrack here than in any other form of motorsport I've ever seen, not just from day to day, but hour to hour.
That's
more so than any dirt track I've ever been to, unless you get a driving rainstorm.
Yeah, I guess I was thinking of short course off-road where these wicked holes develop on every single lap, I think. But, yeah, I see what you mean. It's certainly so temperature dependent.
Yes.
So for this thing to freeze over, and you brought up a great point, which we were talking to the track prep guys there last night, as they're prepping the track right now to let this thing sit. They want a certain amount of time to let this thing sit and freeze off on the top to support. Give it a little bit of base, if you will.
Yeah, we want to go to Dani right now.
Yeah. All right, so track conditions, track prep, still going on right now. We made the joke last round about mashed potatoes, and I was trying to come up with something super funny today, and it was jelly donut. But that doesn't quite apply anymore. What are your thoughts on how you would describe the track here?
Well, I definitely was way too aggressive. I hit it too hard. It spun pretty hard. It's soft. We got to come back this round. We got to tune to the track. We're going to take a little power out at the beginning, pour it on at the end. Try to get around these guys, get number one qualifier wrapped up again. People are going fast. We're going to go faster.
St. Germain was a warm-up for you guys on this 515 team. You decided that you wanted Ethan to be the driver, and this is the same setup, same strategy this weekend. Why?
you know, Ethan's getting better and better every race. He's 50 pounds lighter than me. He's younger than me. He's going to be quicker than me. I can now control the computer and the sled and make sure that's ready to go down the track. And as a team, we're doing better with him driving and me running the mechanical or the crew chief side of it. So it just makes sense.
Sometimes for a team to make a decision, you have to hand the tether cord over. Ethan Earhart, you're the guy for this team this weekend. St. Germain was pretty good to you. Do you expect a similar outcome here in Three Lakes?
I hope so. We're going to, give it all we got. Hopefully this guy makes it fast and should be #1 qualifier again. Hopefully win this time.
Now take us kind of through that first qualifying pass. How did it feel? How did the sled handle? What are some possible changes that the team is in there doing?
Well, it went straight, which is the first step. We spun a lot, but I think we're going to get that taken care of, and should be a good next run.
Now what's going to be the biggest change to maintain a smoother launch?
The right amount of power on the hit. That's going to be the biggest thing.
And if you have the right amount of power, you will be #1 qualifier again, guys.
March, the oldest and most prestigious off-road race in America. It's the BF Goodrich Tires Mint 400 from Las Vegas, Nevada. Over 400 off-road racing teams will test the limits of man and machine in the Mojave Desert. And you've got a front row seat on Speed Sport 1. The BF Goodrich Tires Mint 400, March 4th through the 8th. It's free to watch. Go to speedsport1.com for details and viewing options. Get racing news, analysis, highlights, and more 24 hours a day, 7 days a week at speedsport.com. Get it all. NASCAR, IndyCar, Formula One, World of Outlaws, Trans Am, IHRA, and more. Speed Sport has been America's trusted source of racing news since 1934. Speedsport.com is America's motorsports authority. Check it out today. Speed Sport 1 is your home for the IHRA Outlaw Nitro Series. From the ultra-competitive sportsman and pro mod classes to the 12,000 horsepower, fire-breathing 300 miles per hour top fuel dragsters and funny cars. The IHRA Outlaw Nitro Series delivers thrilling action with every run. Follow the entire IHRA Outlaw Nitro Series on Speed Sport 1. It's free to watch. Go to speedsport1.com for details and viewing options. Race fans have a home on Speed Sport 1. Feel the roar of IHRA Outlaw Nitro Series. Or experience the true power of American muscle with the Trans Am Series presented by Pirelli. Speed Sport 1 has a wide variety of motorsports competition that will satisfy your inner racer. From top-notch IMCA dirt racing to ASA super late model action, Speed Sport 1 is 24/7. Go to speedsport1.com for details and viewing options. Find the best in IMCA racing on Speed Sport 1. Get down and dirty with the modifieds, Race Saver sprint cars, stock cars, sport mods, hobby stocks, and more. Throughout the season, we'll take you to some of the best dirt tracks across the country. Not only that, but you've got access to the biggest IMCA events of the year, from the Winter Nationals to the Super Nationals. It's free to watch. Go to speedsport1.com for details and viewing options.
It's a husband and wife team down here, but only Candace is the driver this weekend. It is a girls' weekend, and there's nothing wrong with that. Why did you guys decide just to have you as one of the drivers this weekend?
My husband sold his sled. Yeah, so it's just me this weekend, but my sled sold too, so I don't own it anymore. It's my last ride on it.
So this is a pretty big story. What is going to be in store for you after this?
I'm not sure. Probably new builds next year, but that's still up in the air with what we're going to build.
So does that mean strategy changes for you today and tomorrow?
Not really, no.
Just keeping it fun, staying on the throttle?
Yeah,
okay.
Not doing the same thing every
Okay.
When I pull up the line, I just do my thing, and yeah.
So, 2 sleds hopefully will be in the show next year. Will that add more pressure, though, to perform, do anything different out of you two? I mean, it's really cool that you're a husband and a wife combo out here. Does he give you any tips, any extra pressure? Is it really just Candace gets to play?
Yeah, it's just, like I said, I do my thing when I go to the line each time, and then I'll come back and we'll read the log and see what the sled's doing, and I'll tell him how it felt, and then we just do our maintenance between rounds and go back up to the line the next time.
Now, what are your thoughts today on this weather? You guys are from Canada. It's a little different today for, I would say, the Midwest. Do you like these types of conditions for racing in this?
Not really. When it's mild like this, no. I'd rather have it cold. You better horsepower. Their sleds work better when it's colder, so.
You know, there's not a lot of girls in the sport of snowmobiling in general, but it's really cool that Candace is out here getting some playtime.
Well, she's doing a great job, too. She had a nice pass earlier, Ken.
Yeah, real nice job there, and she was right alongside the guy that won the category in the previous race and was able to beat him to the finish line. So that'll build a little bit of confidence along the way. I'm sure things will tighten up once round of eliminations begin. But, yeah, real nice out-of-the-box pass for her. Disappointing that we won't see her husband out here competing this weekend, but he'll be able to focus on her sled. We'll find out how things go as you take a look across there, and that is Eagle 1 rolling back out here. Not too far away. Wow, that went quickly. We're only a couple minutes away from session number 2.
About ready to go.
It looked like, from what I could see, some of the numbers that were run were 390s. I believe Jonathan Lensko with the Tasmania went a 371. I didn't see all the numbers, but there's a really good chance that was low. It was certainly one of the best passes that we saw in that first session. Anderson with the compressed air system was right alongside. He went a 386, and Taz was well in front of him, so that kind of supports that 371, if you will.
Getting ready for the IHRA Snow Outlaws qualifying session number 2 for the fastest sleds here this weekend at the World Finals.
You can see the device there that they have to help them roll these sleds out so they don't have to start them up and drive them to the line. They keep them as warm as possible in the trailer, pull them out at the very last moment. Nias Racing, by the way, that is representative of both Chad and Jenny Nias.
Such a beautiful machine.
It really is. You can see the exhaust zoomies, if you will, right there up by the windshield on the front of that supercharged inline 4-cylinder monster of a sled. Pretty heavy, though. It's a heavy combination. When you run that screw charger on the front of that thing, but it provides good downforce, which helps plant the ski in the back, something that the turbocharged machines struggle with a bit, and it allows them to leave the starting line like a gorilla, man. I mean, they really plant that track. And what were they calling? Were they calling them wedges?
No, so it's 2 different things. You have either the spike style stud on the back of the track, which is more of a, just as you would think, like a spike sticking down through the track, or the chisel.
The chisel, yes.
Form, which is more of a block.
Yeah, it's a wider design.
Yes.
And they're aluminum. Everybody's using aluminum out here. They're a little bit concerned about the track getting really frozen and hard and using that aluminum because they can be damaged if the track gets too hard, but everybody seems to be in agreement that they'll be just fine here this weekend.
You see the lanyard the rider puts around their wrist. If you've ever ridden on a personal watercraft, you're very used to seeing those. It's basically a kill switch. If you come off, or your hand comes off the throttle far enough, that lanyard's going to pull out, and the engine's going to shut off immediately. And when that happens, chute's coming out the back. Ethan Earhart right there, Tracer, Iowa, on Mamba.
Yeah, Ethan Earhart on Mamba, as you were talking about, was our #1 qualifier at Lake St. Germain. Put a 3:54 on the board and just out-qualified Dominic Ernst on the Eagle One, who put a 3:56 on the board. So just 0.02 of a second was the difference in qualifying at Lake St. Germain. And that man right there had the quicker of the two.
That is Mamba.
HRC four-cylinder engine there once again, on very similar to the Eagle One. My apologies, that is a turbo. That is not a supercharged machine. That is a turbo machine.
Yeah, 4-cylinder turbo there, and then that Eagle One machine has gone 164.95 miles an hour with a 326 ET.
Yeah, this one here is not too far behind at 158.
No.
Well, personal best 351, 158 miles an hour. Tuned by Aaron Kassler.
Two of the big dogs that'll be eyeballing each other all weekend long and thinking maybe I'll see you when we get to the finals tomorrow afternoon, which you will see live right here on our Speed Sport 2 network. Live from here at Spirit Lake. Glad to have you along. There's a good look at the pit area. All the different trailers that have been brought out here onto the lake. As we said, 27 lakes all connected together here in the North Woods of Wisconsin. This is the area known as 3 Lakes, and we're on Spirit Lake of those 3.
They removed that flag right there. Of course, that allows the parachute to come out. They keep that pin in there for safety so it doesn't pop out while they're transporting the sled up here to the starting line. You remove that flag. Looking, here we go.
Dominic Ernst, Dustin underway.
What a lot of body English right there.
What a pass by Dominic Ernst.
Ethan Earhart really leaning that thing to the left, trying to get it to come back into the lane. As the Eagle One just went thundering by to the finish line.
Look at that Eagle One machine launch. Keep the front down the whole way.
Man, it looks good.
Oh, man, that's about as pretty a run as you're going to get. Dominic will be very, very happy with that one. Here's Daryl Cuddle right here on the Invader. 1400 Invader ready to go. Kawasaki powered. Hyper Sports chassis. Daryl out of Hamilton, Ohio, the man behind the International Hot Rod Association and all the exciting things that are happening over here. And he's paired up with Ethan Earhart here on Mamba. There's Daryl. Focused, ready to go.
Oh, my apologies. I said Ethan Earhart in that last pair. That was R. Dustin, wasn't it?
Yeah,
that was R. Dustin. My apologies there. So, yeah, Daryl Cuddle, we talked about it before, first time on this sled, and that was his first pass ever out here. In round number 1, we'll see if he gets settled in here and can squeeze on the throttle a little bit earlier, a little bit harder, and stay with it. Here's alongside Ethan Earhart and the Black Mamba. It is Ethan Earhart who qualified number 1. My apologies to R. Dustin. I feel bad about that. Sat there with an hour for him last night in the shop. He gave me all kinds of good tips, and then I blow his name.
And that's how you treat him.
That was not goodish. Happens.
You and I had a chance to visit with Daryl earlier today. Boy, he was all focused and ready to go. Anxious to get on the sled and get running. And here he goes. And the Durana Hybrid back. 1400 Invader, and away they go. Much better run for Daryl off the line, and then the chute comes out early.
It looked like something
Yeah,
fell
some
off
fell
right
off
there
there
as
too,
well.
yeah.
But, yeah, much more aggressive run there. He's got to feel a lot better about that. And the Black Mamba on the other side, hard on the power to the finish line.
I think, Ken, there was 2 cameras mounted on the back of that machine. I think that might be one of the cameras that came off, not a mechanical piece.
Mamba there in the near lane, just powering up the front end, set it back down, made a good run to the finish line. Darrell with a much nicer pass there. It does kind of look like a GoPro arm.
Looks like a
doesn't it?
GoPro arm that came off the back. Tyson Anderson, there's Darrell pulling in the chute.
That thing is so clean.
Mm-hmm. Good look at the track underneath.
Yeah, and those chisels that you were talking about, there they are. Bunch of angry teeth. 159-inch track is what they're limited to here in this category.
There's the Hulk. Waiting for its turn. Supposed to be seeing Jonathan Linskow. There he is over on the far side.
Yeah, the Taz machine on the far side. And it does look like the Hulk is there on the near side, doesn't it?
Yeah, it's supposed to be Tyson Anderson up next, though, in that compressed air systems machine.
We had the same thing last time,
earlier,
if I'm not mistaken. I wonder if he's way off to the left. Or if they had some sort of issue. They spent a lot of time with us today. It was great learning about that compressed air system that they are using. It basically runs on its stock NA engine until they get up there, and then when they activate the system, that it closes off and it runs completely on the compressed air tank that is located on the back of the sled.
And that's a 30-inch tank, and they said they don't utilize everything that's in the tank on each individual run, but certainly about half or a little bit more than half the tank.
Yeah, they said they can't get 2 runs out of it.
No.
So.
No. And talking about compressed air, it's basically the exact same air that you and I breathe. In fact, they just load it up at their race shop. The only thing that's different between what's in the tank and what you and I are breathing is that what's in the tank is a little bit drier.
Yes,
runs through
drier.
a filtration system.
And they said when it's activated, it's at near zero temperature-wise.
Below zero.
Or below.
Yeah.
Yeah. So cool, cold, crisp air that's going into that power plant. It's really like having a supercharger on it without utilizing the horsepower that it takes to turn a supercharger.
Yeah. And it weighed, what'd they say, about 27 pounds, was it? 24 pounds?
Yeah, I mean,
Pack
well,
full.
and we asked about the overall weight of the sled. They said there are a number of things on there that's keeping the weight a little bit more than what they would like. But, I mean, it's I think it's lighter than a supercharged sled, but maybe a tick heavier than the turbocharged
But the
sled.
tank and all, I think they said weighed
It's
about
lightweight.
24
I mean, it's a carbon
pounds.
fiber tank. So.
Yeah, carbon fiber tank with an aluminum insert. There's Linskow.
Had a good run in round 1.
Tasmania.
Here we go.
Good looking sled. He's away. Looks like he's on a solo. Yep, that's the reason why we didn't get the compressed air machine up there.
Yeah, it probably left him a little bit of time to see if they could make it up there. Was not able to make the call, so a single, as you said. The Hypersports prepared machine. That is a turbocharged twin underneath the cow. And the compressed air machine as well, another twin. I don't know if we talked about that last time out, but this twin here on gas making somewhere around 850 horsepower. A little dance there at the end, but not bad.
Boy, Tasmania and Eagle One both just picture-perfect runs, wouldn't you say, in this second round?
Yeah, nice looking pass.
Maybe setting things up for a final tomorrow afternoon. Alec Gibbous scheduled to be up next out of Lake Geneva, Wisconsin on Spider-Man. And maybe Ben Trollard on Fallout out of Elgin, Michigan.
11 entries here in the Outlaw category. We had 8 at Lake St. Germain, so nice to see the field grow a little bit.
Here comes the Hulk.
Yeah, I was going to say, unfortunately, the Grinch not able to make the call. We missed those guys. Hopefully they can get that one back together after a catastrophic explosion at Lake St. Germain.
So things a little bit out of order. So Kelly Schultz on the Hulk. And it looks like Sweeney coming out on El Jefe, which put together a brilliant run in the first round. So I'm looking like Gibbous and Trollard are skipping this second round. Here we go. El Jefe, again, another solid pass.
Something flew off the back of that one as well.
From Mike Sweeney. Shoot did not come out.
Anthony Bosco, the tuner there.
Sweeney out of Connecticut.
And
Thomaston,
ARB.
Connecticut. Hyper Sports Chassis, HRC 4. Boy, the rear of El Jefe digging for all it's worth, but Ken, it didn't keep the front planted as much as Eagle One did.
But it still went nice and straight. So I
Sure
mean,
did.
as long as it's planting that track and he can stay on the throttle, I would think it'd be look like a really nice run for sure. On the other side, the Hulk looked like they had some issues there. Is out of the throttle a little bit early.
Now we expect to see one more sled. That would be Jagger Ashley and Demon, Mustakis Racing entry out of Poughkeepsie, New York area. He's supposed to make a single pass on a solo run, just like he did in round one, and then we'll be on to Pro 55. But if he does not come up to the line here shortly, we'll just move on to the Pro 55 sled. Going straight to Pro 55, we're now told.
Yeah, in the Pro 55 category, much to our surprise, we did not see Brian Sullivan come out in that first session. He was a winner of our first event, absolute buzzsaw.
Yeah, the John Deere machine. And we should be seeing Scott Kosman here and Jesse Bruns. Farmall is Kosman, which is the one
Near lane here.
nearest to you in the right lane.
Hops off so they can set the back of the sled and plant the track down in the snow.
And Jesse Bruns out of Freeland, Michigan. An Arctic Cat. Here they go. Farmall picks it up, twists it a little bit, gets it back down, gets first to the line. Another great run for Scott Kosman out of Wilson, Wisconsin.
Yeah, really good battle there up through the middle of half track, if you will. They were pretty much side by side, and then right at the very end, Kosman put it together.
Well, he's a six-time Heydays Pro 55 winner. Glenn Hall spinning the wrenches on that Hyper Sports powered HRC2.
When I saw it right there, it looks like Bruns. I think he has to get out of the throttle here. If he got out of the throttle or not. But you can see the front end bobbing up and down on that sled all the way down through there. I would think that would be detracting from the time there to plant that front end as it went up and down 2 or 3 times.
Expecting to see Deerfield, Wisconsin's Bad Attitude with Kyle Viney at the controls up against David Tebow out of Dryden, Ontario, Canada on Solus.
Yeah, Solus Tattoo I see as part of the sponsorship as well, so pretty cool.
There's Viney on Bad Attitude, Suzuki-powered Arctic Cat.
No times for this category. These are test runs for the Pro 55 and the Pro Modified category. The only ones that are truly qualifying are the Outlaw sleds.
Viney was a runner-up, Snow Outlaws event over in St. Germain about 2 weeks ago. Here they go. Tebow powered away early. I'm not sure what was going on between the pair.
Yeah, it might have been a clutch issue where he went to put it on the 2-step and it activated the clutch just enough that it started to drag him through, so he just kept going with it.
Yeah.
They have a pneumatic air device on the outside of the clutches that allows them to pick up the RPM right where they want to launch, and then it activates whenever they let go of the button. It activates the clutch. It just slams the clutch. So it's not like a stock sled where you would put it up on a two-step and then you'd still have a few hundred RPM to go. It's just right there at the moment.
And you can see Tebow rolling. Yeah, he had an issue.
Yeah, I think he tried to put it on two-step and it drug him through.
No problem for bad attitude.
Kicking snow up, baby.
Attitude might not be all that good, but the run was pretty solid. Look at that.
Pretty cool, man.
Straight down the boulevard.
Again, that long track, and it's still able to power up that front end.
Yeah, it's amazing, isn't it? Ryan Santry, and we should see the John Deere machine with Brian Sullivan for the first time here, hopefully.
Windy City production crew doing a great job. As we all learned a lot at that first event, but they've already given us some of the replays to give you a good idea of just how violent these things sound as Ryan Santry pulls up to the starting line.
And that stunning Yamaha-powered machine.
One of the crew members out there with that rod, so he's probing the track to try and find the hardest part of the track.
Still no Sullivan.
Nope.
As Santry goes. Wondering if Brian might have done some testing leading into the event and figures the conditions for the track tomorrow are going to be so radically different than tonight.
I bet our good friend Dani
could find out.
Might be able to dig something up for us.
Possibly.
Another great look, front end up. It's going off to the right-hand side, though. I believe had to get out of the throttle a little bit early, just keep it in the lane.
Yeah, he was getting close to the flags there, wasn't he? Looked like it.
And it's happening a lot. We actually saw that in the hat races out there in the field. I mean, they were going off to the left a lot. So that's all going to play a huge factor tomorrow when they get out here. Again, we keep talking about this track is going to change as it becomes more consistent. I think they'll be able to dial these things in a little bit better, but they're going to have to anticipate what that sled is going to do because you've got to make it to the stripe under power or they're going to make you pay.
Yeah. Yeah. Fans enjoying themselves here. Great family fun.
Everybody has just been wonderful, by the way, to work with. I mean, all the teams
so
out here
nice.
Welcome us all in. Clearly do not know who we are.
No.
Open the doors.
I wouldn't invite us in.
Feed us,
tell you that.
Feed us a lot of information. They've just been outstanding to work with. The entire track staff and all the racers.
Josh Borman and Jagger Ashley, next pair up.
And we heard Jagger talking about this Pro 55 sled. He really wants this thing to come alive.
Jagger on the Pro Stock Incorporated chassis. And Borman on the Pro line.
Yeah, they call it the Red Rocket for Borman.
And the Stockus Racing entries. And the Red Rocket is just that to the far end.
Man, driving those things, so cool.
It's a handful.
Jagger was really, really moving around on that thing.
And the challenge for Jagger is as soon as he completes the pass on the Outlaw machine, he's got to get back up to the staging area to get on his Pro 55, and then he's got to do the same thing right now to go back and get on his Pro Mod.
Yeah, he's in all three classes.
There's no downtime. Those things scream.
Right, something flew off the back of Jagger's as well. It seems like that left lane, we've had 3 sleds go down there where parts or something of the sort has flown off the back of those things. Great shot of our starter as well. Former racer, I think still competes whenever he's not out there starting, but great to have a seasoned veteran out there doing the starting duties.
That's important for the racers, too, because he will give a look to each racer to make sure they're ready to go. And through his experience, if he's not ready, Ken, he can help buy them a little bit of time.
Yeah, 100%. He knows what it's like to be sitting in the seat, and if they are ready or if they need just a little more time, that's what it's all about. And nobody wants to go out here and win one of these races because the guy in the other lane isn't ready to go. They want it to be fair.
And that's not necessarily a mechanical issue. Sometimes it's just a focus thing, right? You might just notice the guy's just not ready yet. His visor's still up, whatever
it's
it might
your system, yeah, whatever that system may be.
Now, we're supposed to see Chris Young make a solo pass here on Reaper. But it looks like that's Candace Downs' machine right there.
Yeah,
means
so
we'll be moving on to Pro Mod.
Yeah, maybe we won't see Chris Young this round. I believe that looked like that was Jagger as well. That was back on his Pro Mod.
He's right back up there.
And he's part of the first pair, so yeah, alongside.
Candace, as you met her earlier, out of Foxborough, Ontario, Canada, on Cruel Intentions. Jagger on another Moustakis racing machine, the Arctic Cat.
Both of them close to the center line here.
Candace on a Hyper Sports Cat.
I think that's the farthest inside I've seen anybody for Jagger.
For sure.
And any class, really. So feel like they have something over there.
Well, let's see.
Candace is going to beat him to the stripe the second time.
Yeah. Well, that's what you're supposed to do tonight,
that's
too,
it.
right? Search around a little bit, see what you find. See if you find something. And what he found out is that maybe he doesn't want to be there.
maybe he wants somebody else to race Candace in round one. And her sled just looks a lot more aggressive there at the starting line.
Sure does.
You see it pick up the front end, and Jagger's just never got up in the air. So, but again, I'm not going to put too much weight on this. Jagger will be ready to go. They love that sled. He has a ton of confidence inside of it.
Yeah.
And I'm not taking anything away from Candace and Casey. They clearly have that sled ready to go, but the track conditions are going to change so much, and we'll see who can adapt the best.
Yeah, they'll be good to go tomorrow as well.
It goes back to something that Moustakis Racing said, which Jagger and the rest of the gang out of New York said, that those tracks in New York for them are much harder than what they have here. So this track is going to come back to something that they're more used to come tomorrow.
Yeah, and we'll see if that makes a difference in their performance. From the sound of things, almost all the competitors are really looking forward to the change in the conditions tomorrow, so we'll see how that impacts the racing. Corey Sullivan, Nate Bay ready to go.
Yeah, and conversely, Corey Sullivan could not be any farther towards the outside of the lane. If that thing goes to the right at all, he's going to have to bail out. Stock chassis here for both of these competitors, as we talked about before. Here we go. And it looks like it's going to be all Nate Bay here. Nice, smooth pass.
Nate hailing out of Canandaigua, New York. Arctic Cat. That stock chassis, as Ken mentioned. Jesse Brunn's doing the crew chiefing duties on that machine when he's not racing. Should be seeing Dan Bickle here out of Davenport, Iowa, and Frank Whitleaf out of Minnesota as our next pair.
Yeah, Mike Hansen and Derek, Proline Performance. Woody's helping out Frank Whitleaf. A little different track as well. Woody's Traction, DC Incorporated, BCM the tuner, and a new built sled for him that, as we talked about before there in the first session, known as Cheeto.
And Bickle, 2017 Snow Outlaws Outlaw class winner at an event in Michigan. And here they come. Cheeto in the far lane. Cheeto, a Yamaha, as is the machine out of Iowa that you're looking at right there. Here we go. Pretty even all the way down.
Ooh, great side-by-side battle.
Yeah, it looked like Bickle got a little bit stronger just at the finish. Not sure if Whitleaf lifted or if Bickle had a little bit more at the top end. Jumps off. A little bit of a different dance at the far end there, huh? The racer able to jump off.
Help that thing turn. You got to help it turn. They don't want to turn, man.
All right, listen to him. Could see them looking over at each other a little bit as they got to the far end just to judge the performance compared to their competitor.
Yeah, I want to see where that other guy is, 100%.
Paul Grotti and Jimmy Trumbull, the Warden and the Crum getting ready to go.
With that said, this is not index racing. It's first one to the stripe wins.
And if you're just tuning in live here on Speed Sport 2, this is qualifying for tomorrow's World Finals with the International Hot Rod Association Snow Outlaws.
Yeah, and in the interest of fair reporting, the only class that is actually throwing numbers down to adjust the ladder for tomorrow is the Outlaw category. The Pro Mods and the Pro 55s, these are test sessions for them. They'll pull pills for the ladder tomorrow.
That's Trumbull on the Crum out of Hogan Racing. And again, their headquarters literally right across the street.
Yeah, I had a chance to spend some time with Billy Hogan last night. Just a great guy. Watched his brother Dani get on the back of one of these things. I mean, just ripped a wheel stand from one end to the other. Incredible driver. And Gianna, also, their sister, is a talented racer as we watch another pass here.
And we're expecting to see Gianna next year, right?
Yeah. They said they'd like to get her out here and get her on a sled racing. And I said, man, let's do it. Let's make her a superstar. Talented family. And their father, Bill, so passionate about everything that's going on here as well. So the whole family was over there.
Starter put in place, and Dante Grotti ready to make the final run here in round 2. It should be a solo pass. Close out the activity with Pro Mod for session number 2. Hooper Race Engines powering this Arctic Cat. He gets his machine right where he wants it. Scoots back into the saddle and ready to go. Visor down, focus.
Has that old school look.
Oh, yeah. Look at that thing launch.
Exactly what he did in the first round.
Digging all the way down the 500-foot track. Dante's got to be very happy with the performance. The final chapter, as it's known. A race out of Columbus, Michigan.
Yeah, and I didn't see his father come out here, so I wonder if they had an issue in that first session where they had to skip this one.
I wonder, too, Ken, as we watch the replay here with Dante, as the temperature drops here tonight, the track getting closer and closer to what we're going to see tomorrow. So I wonder if some of the racers who skipped the second round just thought, well, we got all the way down the track the first pass, so we know the machine is mechanically sound. Let's just wait now, and we'll go for the setup on the final pass, save the equipment a little bit. It'll be closer to what we're going to have tomorrow.
I think legitimate plan for sure. Or maybe come out in the final session and,
that's what I mean. Skip the middle one.
If you want to do that, or skip the first two and come out where you. I mean, I still don't think it's going to be anything like tomorrow. I mean, once this thing has a chance to sit all night long and really freeze up, and they'll go out and groom this thing a little bit more.
Well, let me ask you this, and we have not seen the John Deere machine of Sullivan yet. Would you be getting nervous if we don't see him run? I mean, he's got to come out for the third run, right?
Yeah. I mean, I would want to come out here and make a test pass unless they went out in the back today and did something over there, but I wouldn't think so. I mean, you'd want to come out here and run on the main track.
You would think.
Yeah, I mean, I'd just be blown away if he didn't come out one session.
He's a 7-time champ. He knows certainly more than we do, right?
Come on, really?
Yeah, well, all right. Dani knows a lot as well. Let's check in with her.
Ryan, St. Germain was not so sweet to you, but you have a little bit better attitude so far today. One of your crew members made the comment that everyone's running a little bit slower, but right now you are running a little bit faster. It sounds like you're kind of right where you need to be. There's a little bit of chit-chat in the trailer about possible changes, but you're kind of holding your ground here.
Yeah, I mean, St. Germain, obviously I had a rough time there, right? We didn't even make Friday night with all the issues we had. So to come out here tonight, get past 1, past 2, we're getting it close. It came out pretty good the second time. I had to get out of it before it hit the side. I didn't want to go off the track or anything, but it's coming along. Tomorrow morning it's going to be 6 degrees out here. This right now is soft. Like, you're not going to learn a whole lot by tuning to this and then come out tomorrow morning and it's a hard surface. So, yeah, maybe just shut it down for the night and the motor's in one piece and you're happy about that, right?
Sometimes making no changes is the right change.
Right, correct. Every time, even between rounds, sometimes turning the power down is the right answer. It all depends on what the conditions are doing and how that's going. So
we were talking a little bit about the wind kind of pulling some people, but you were saying, no, I feel like we're kind of right where we need to be, that the wind wasn't really affecting you as much as some other people.
It didn't. But, I also didn't make a full pass either, so I'm trying to be nice to the equipment and not break it on Friday when there's a race on Saturday. So, yeah, but the wind wasn't really a factor at all. So.
You guys, each pass is so important in this discipline. It's like no other thing out there, guys.
No doubt about it, Dani. And these guys have not had a lot of runs this season, Ken. The St. Germain round was round 1 of the championship year, and here we are at round 2, and the World Finals upon us. And this is it. This is the last big race scheduled of the season. So, very short season for them this year.
Was just looking at some of the numbers, and looks like Sweeney laid down a nice lap there with El Jefe, as you had documented before. From what I can see, went a 375. And we also know that Dominic Ernst with the Eagle One did a nice job, went a 377. So the boys are picking up the pace. The track's probably getting a little bit better. They're making adjustments to get to the track. So still haven't seen another 371 that we saw Taz put on the board. And I did not get a number from Taz from that second session.
Eagle One and El Jefe visually seem to be the two most consistent machines of the night so far.
Yeah, I think they'll all be ready on race day.
Dani, how's Kelly Schultz feeling?
Kelly, he was usually riding that Pro Mod, making a change over here to the Hulk in the Pro Outlaw class. You said there wasn't much of a change in speed, but this is a completely different machine. The Hulk hasn't had any time out here. What are the thoughts right now?
I mean, yeah, it's still a work in progress. I mean, we're slowly getting up to speed. I mean, we're, with the first 2 times out, for me driving it was pretty good, actually, I mean, we're starting to, working on the suspension, the tune-up and stuff like that. So definitely, it's coming around.
Now, Kelly's part of that G4 team, and it was very clear what driver was going to be riding what specific machine. Do you agree with what machine you're on, and do you feel like you have what it takes to make some progress for tomorrow?
Oh, yeah. I mean, we're definitely working on our tune-up, and, as the track changes tomorrow, I think it'll play a better factor for us tomorrow, for sure.
Kelly's a seasoned veteran. He runs grass drags. This could just maybe be his time to shine, guys.
He's certainly going to be a strong competitor, Dani, no doubt about it. I don't really see any weak links in the field, do you?
No, and
rider-wise, I mean, they're all very, very talented winners and champions and certainly capable.
Yeah, and you just can't count any of these competitors out, because they have all night long. They'll show up on race day. It doesn't matter how many troubles they have here today.
All right, let's take a look at the recap of the round. Here's the Eagle One machine. Far lane, watch this. Again, another beautiful pass by that Eagle One machine.
R. Dustin here in the near lane. R. Dustin really driving that thing and finally set the front end back down. Did get it to the stripe, though. Then it was Darrell Cuttle, as you can see there, brand new onto that sled. Gorgeous sled, and he got much more comfortable there in that second section.
Yep, sure did. As he was paired up with Ethan Earhart, then Tyson Anderson and Jonathan Lenskow. Lenskow goes on his own, and that machine, Tasmanian, looks pretty solid as well. He's going to be a player tomorrow here at the World Finals.
Yeah, didn't get a time from him in that second session.
Alec Gibbous and Ben Trollard.
Yeah, Gibbous struggling right there on the Hulk.
And here we go with Schultz and Sweeney.
Yeah, and we talked about Sweeney having a great run there, and as you talked about there, Jagger running all 3 categories. I believe this is Pro 55 now.
Yep, as we look at Viney here. Listen to that turbo spool up.
It's so cool. Headed off to the right.
Santry. Brian Sullivan supposed to be here.
I think that was Jagger in that pair.
Yeah. This is Borman and Ashley here. No, that's Candace.
That was Candace as we go into the Pro Modified category.
Yeah. And that's Jagger Ashley alongside of Candace. Candace with the ponytail hanging out the back. And this would be Sullivan and Nate Bay. And this would be Bickle and Whitleaf. See the Cheeto planted and running solid.
Pretty sure this is Trumbull here on a single.
On a single, as Paul Grotti didn't make the call. One more look at Trumbull on the crumb. And
we're going to get an answer to our question here in just a moment.
Now, here's Dante Grotti here making his solo. He's had 2 very solid runs. And we go to Dani now for some answers.
Brian Sullivan, he does have a smile on his face right now, even though there sounds like there was a little bit of a human error. 7-time champ. There's a little added pressure here. You made the comment that this track was not good to you in the past, but you're smiling right now. So what is the consensus in the trailer?
Well, so about an hour before our first round, we made some adjustments. We had some issues with the sled not wanting to start the best, so I made a few adjustments. We adjusted throttle position. We calibrated the sensor. And there was human error involved there, and it didn't take calibration, and the sled it wasn't reading any throttle position, and it wouldn't run. We were thinking it was some other issues, and we finally tracked it down. We do have it taken care of now, we think, and we're going to make a pass on the third.
So this is kind of part of racing. You made that comment.
Yeah, that's why I'm never very confident or arrogant, because you could think you have everything going, and some little thing throws you for a loop, and you got to figure it out. And last year here, we really struggled with some problems here too. So maybe I'm just jinxed here.
Well, let's try to turn that around, because you were pretty calm, cool, collective last round. Hopefully we see him out there.
Yeah, Dani, this is the night to have those issues, right, Ken? I mean, you got all night to get it figured out. Now he's got a third run. Conditions will be a little bit closer to what he's going to see tomorrow when we come out here in the afternoon. Again, the World Finals will be contested during the daytime, not at night under the lights like qualifying is here. So important to get it figured out today so that you're ready to go tomorrow.
Yeah, really glad they were able to figure that out. And by the way, Corey Sullivan, who's running in the Pro Modified category, is his brother. So some help down there as well. But glad, like you said, glad they figured it out here on Friday night. That's all that really matters.
Yeah.
And the fact that he's got one more test run, he knows how good that sled is. So one more test shot here, go from point A, point B, and he'll be ready for tomorrow.
He makes a full pass here in this third and final round. He gets a good night's sleep tonight, comes out ready to go.
Right. He could hurt some feelings tomorrow.
Yeah. Yeah, things will be a whole lot different in the morning.
I mean, he was so dominant at Lake St. Germain. The thing was so consistent. It was so fast. It was visibly fast. So it's a really, really good sled, so I'm sure he'll be fine.
Now, on the other hand, if it doesn't go A to B, it could be a night of tossing and turning for Brian, too.
It could be a night of no sleep.
Yeah.
So, but as I recall at Lake St. Germain, he had the biggest rooster tail of any sled in the Pro 55 category. I mean, so whatever they're doing to get grip with that thing on that soft track, because it was warm there, they had it figured out.
Yeah, Eliminations Day in St. Germain was very much like it was here today, very warm temperatures in the upper 40s. And that's what we had here this afternoon. Of course, nobody was on the track this afternoon here.
You know, I want to touch on something that we heard from the Gibbous team. As they said, they were talking about Shane Tecklenburg. Their tuner is not here. He's tuning remotely. So they'll download all the data from the ECU, put it on the computer. They'll whip it off to him. I believe he's in Florida at a Pro Mod race, and he'll take a look at that, tell them what adjustments to make, or he could just do it himself on his computer. They'll plug in, and I believe he can do it as long as they have strong internet signal. And he can make the changes himself, or at the very least tell them what to do. So he's literally tuning 2 sleds from Florida.
In his shorts while the sled's up here.
Well, I don't know if he's in his shorts.
Johns.
Let's hope not. But
I'm guessing the weather temperature a little bit different down there in Florida right now. Well, let's hear from Dani once again.
So, Tyler Enerson, you won last round. You just made the comment that you're never satisfied. For a sled that was the underdog, you had it on top of the box. Why the changes?
We had it working pretty well last weekend, and we weren't really satisfied with where it was. We wanted to turn it up a little bit. We made some pretty significant changes last week, some with the tune-up and some with the clutching, and we wanted to go out and see how that was going to respond. And it did what we wanted it to do. We kind of walked it out of the line pretty soft because the track's a little bit soft tonight, but it made a pretty good pass, so we didn't make a second run. I don't think we're going to make a third one either. The track's just getting a little bit too loose, and it's going to be way different tomorrow morning. So I think it's a pretty good tune-up, pretty good setup for the morning, but we might have just overpowered it a little bit tonight. So
now, as a driver, have you added some pressure just to outperform in some way, shape, or form what happened in St. Germain?
Yeah, there's definitely more pressure going into this weekend, some expectations, I guess, but just do our job and do everything the same and keep it consistent.
Now I have to ask, what makes this so fun?
Well, it's quite an adrenaline rush. It really is. But yeah, when you come out here and have a successful weekend, that sure makes it fun.
All right, you guys keep your eyes on Tyson Enerson because I think he's going to be trying to take home that number 1 again.
Yeah, that's our buddies with Ish Racing over there, as in Goodish interview, thinking the surface is a little bit softish, and they're hoping for things to be a little bit more hardish tomorrow.
Great group of guys, and hats off to that team, and certainly Tyson being part of that. But this is the entire process has been developed by them. They're on an island of their own. There's not another sled out here like that. And those guys have worked relentlessly with the ECU to dial that thing in and really have done a fabulous job. They said, much to our surprise, we got pretty close in the first hit. You don't just guess at that stuff, by the way. That's a lot of intelligent guessing to get them in the window, but it got them right into a tuning window right out the bat with the first pass, and they've done nothing but make it better. But hats off to them. That is a lot of very, very technical, difficult work to get it happy.
And they realize that their biggest potential for a problem is themselves, because as all racers will do, you tend to go for more all the time, right? And they said we can't allow that to happen. We have to ease in with our tuning because it's very easy to go, well, let's just give it a whole bunch more and see what it does, right?
Yeah, and that's, as I documented before, we won't see it again out here. It doesn't sound like until tomorrow, but that is also a small twin. That's just a 2-cylinder engine. And they said it's on gas as well, much like the Taz combination, except the Taz has a turbo. They're using that compressed air system. So these little twins, they're pushing these twins. They don't know how much more they can take before they decide to give it up. But, I mean, we know that Taz, they told us they're making approximately 850 horsepower. The words that came out of Tyson's mouth, or one of the tuners that was in the trailer, was just under 4 digits, he said.
Yeah.
So, I mean, they're pushing
close to
1,000. Close to 1,000. I mean, that's a lot of pressure
twisting
inside
it
of those
pretty
things.
tight.
Yeah, pretty cool.
Dani, how's Scott Kosman feeling?
You know, he's in pretty good spirits right now, so that tells me that something is going right. He said he's been pretty confident in the last 2 runs. Are you going to be making any changes?
No changes, and probably not going to run the last run either. Everything looks really good in the data for as loose as the snow is, so I think we're sitting good.
Now, how do you feel that this wind is affecting you out there?
the snow is actually so loose that it's kind of hunkered down in there, so it's really not affecting us at all.
Do you imagine that there's going to be some big changes from the passes that you did today to tomorrow?
Yes. I think tomorrow's going to be a completely different day, so we're just going to have to wait and see what tomorrow brings.
Do you have any kind of things up your sleeve right now of things that you might need to tweak or change? Anything that you want to tell me at least?
I got something in mind, but I'm probably not going to say nothing because I'm going to have to go over it with the tuner quick and see what he thinks, and then we'll just go from there.
Scott is definitely one of these drivers that really kind of keeps to himself out here, so his strategy is just that. Keep your eyes on Scott, guys.
Whatever it is you think you're going to do, tell her the absolute opposite so the others listen, and they might try it.
Exactly right. You want them all to go left, tell them you're going right.
Exactly. A little diversion.
A good look at the track, 500 feet in length, the site of tomorrow's World Finals.
Yeah, up here in the north woods of Wisconsin, and not a whole lot of snow on the ground. I didn't see any snow on the ground until I got north of Antigo, which is a couple of hours north of Green Bay, if you will.
Yeah, if you're a race fan of all varieties, we can tell you we are about 20 miles from Eagle River.
We're 25 miles
from Crandon,
the big house.
Yeah, I was just getting ready to go to that one, too. So we are right in the thick of some of the most famous racing venues in the state of Wisconsin.
Yeah, it's the Mac Daddy for short course off-road, Crandon, of course.
Snowmobile Hall of Fame and Museum nearby as well. That's within about a half an hour from here.
Yeah, and speaking of that, Crandon also putting together a Hall of Fame over there in their end of the world for short course off-road, and they do a nice show for the Hall of Famers on Thursday night whenever they have their Labor Day weekend show.
So this area here at Three Lakes, as we told you, some 27 lakes all interconnected, makes up about, what did they tell us earlier today, Ken, some 20-plus thousand acres of water.
Yeah.
Lakes that you can ride around on, and they're all connected. In fact, they said you can go all the way from here to Eagle River and have lunch over there and
and you were chatting with some of the guys that ride sleds, and they said, they have secondary houses up here. They come up here, they ride 2-3 days a week, get on the sleds, go a couple 100 miles, and just have a blast every day.
Yeah. And when you come out here, as you look, you scan the horizon across the lakes, you'll see orange barrels laid out across the lakes, and that is the trail system. When it hits, there's trail systems all around the area, hundreds and hundreds of miles of trail systems, and each area has its own club that works with the local community snowmobile committee, and they take care of those trails and make sure they're safe and prepped and ready to go for those that are up here enjoying, whether you're a local or somebody's just up here visiting.
So what you're saying is that when we're going home, if we see an orange barrel,
you're on the lake. Get off the
wrong road.
Yeah, you're on the wrong road. You're on a lake somewhere. But yeah, as those trails move over to the lake systems, they put big orange barrels out across the lakes, and as long as you're following the orange barrels, you're still on the trail cutting across the lake to the next section of land trail.
All right, I think Dani has another
let's find out.
Person of view.
You guys, Dominic Ernst, he's pretty happy right now, but he's not going to be making a third pass tonight. Why?
I'd say the tracks are starting to go away. Unfortunately, we had a lot of warm weather today, so we're kind of fighting that right now. Our best consensus is kind of be conservative, come back tomorrow. Track's going to come around a lot tomorrow. It's supposed to be 19 degrees. Right now it's still about 31 real feel. So we're going to come back tomorrow and then hopefully be able to put the power down. Our first pass felt really great. It was going to be about, going by the data, it was going to be about like a 359 pass. Our second one was a 377, only at 147 mile an hour. So we still got a little bit more room to work with, but we'll come back tomorrow and hopefully put down some good passes.
In a sport that is so technical that every little part of this matters, you mentioned that the Draghi didn't work on one of your passes.
Yeah, that was the first pass, unfortunately. The the sled did everything it should have done. I mean, it probably would have been a 1060 foot. It felt great. Everything worked perfectly the way we thought it was going to do. So, but unfortunately, that draggy just didn't work. So, hopefully, everything will work out tomorrow and hopefully get some better data.
Now you're coming off as runner-up from St. Germain. Added pressure?
A little bit. I got some revenge on Tyson right now. I got to get him. So, hopefully, I get him tomorrow and get a little back at him.
And these are the types of battles we want to hear about and that we want to see, you guys. I'm actually ready for finals right now. What are you guys feeling?
I think it's going to be a spectacular day tomorrow, Dani, and we're hearing temperature all over the board from as low as 5 degrees. I heard one racer predicting, and then we just hear there maybe as high as 19. It could be all over the board tomorrow.
Yeah, it'll be interesting. We'll know when we get up in the morning.
Yeah.
It's going to be a lot colder than it was today, I can tell you that.
Yeah, that's for sure. That's for sure.
Hey, Johnny Greaves was listening on, Hall of Famer, speaking of short course off-road, Hall of Famer and 9-time champ in Pro 4, and he said, I heard you're up here at 3 Lakes, and I said, yeah. He said, it's going to be a lot colder tomorrow. I said, it's changing quickly already.
Yeah, thanks for the tip, Johnny. Right? Let's take a look at how Daryl Cuddle's night has gone for the racer out of Hamilton, Ohio, the man behind the International Hot Rod Association.
Been 242 miles an hour in a boat.
Yep. This is the GoPro mounted on the back. This was round 1.
First time on
the 1400 Invader.
And we haven't had a chance to talk to him there, but my guess is that was a planned squeeze on the throttle, get a good feel for what was going on.
Yeah. And then this is the second round action. Launched a lot harder, and there you see the chute come out. But the launch was definitely a lot harder, Ken.
Yeah, he got way more aggressive there and then was able to dump the laundry out there. And the chutes really settled down the back of those sleds as well that we've heard from a number of the drivers.
And here's where the camera goes off. We did get confirmation. We thought the camera went away, and it did. Here it goes.
Thought we were going to get a 360 view for a moment.
Yeah, but the camera stayed lit, so tip of the cap to them for that.
It survived to
live for another run, another day.
Yeah.
Looks like the first sleds are moving out for round 3. Final round. Should be seeing R. Dustin and Dominic Ernst. We'll see the Outlaw sleds first.
Does that look like the John Deere sled?
It does.
That might be Sullivan out there getting ready to go. And
it does.
I mean, he's in the Pro 55 class. We'll have Outlaws first, but looks like he might already be out there.
Well, Dani, we've been wanting to get an update on Daryl Cuddle's machine and how things are going with the 1400 Invader. What can you tell us?
Daryl told me when I got here that he just wanted to go fast, and that was pretty much all he said to me. Aaron, you are the guy that is going to get the job done. Can you kind of talk about the runs that you've done so far tonight?
Yeah, sure. We've had 2 qualifying passes since the sled. Everything is new. Daryl's fresh on this thing. It's been a bit of a, let's walk before we run type scenario. These things are obviously really fast and pretty serious. So first run, I was way too soft with it. The track bit a lot harder than we expected with the weather, and I got underneath the clutch, and anyways, didn't quite do what we wanted to do, but told us a lot. Next run was really nice, had really good track speed in the beginning. He stayed in it for 2.78 seconds or so, and the data that looks like for at least 330 feet so far looks really nice. So this run we're going to see if we can stay in it all the way through.
Is this going to be as fun for you and this team as everybody else is going to be having tomorrow?
Oh, I don't know. Yeah, probably. I mean, this is tons of fun. I don't know how it can't be fun. But it's such a cool sport, such a unique venue, such a really cool atmosphere out here. So for somebody that's usually in the car side of motorsports, this is a really, really cool thing.
You guys, it's time to have some more fun. Let's go for another run.
Yeah, hopefully he's going to make another pass here. We look forward to seeing that 1400 Invader, dialing that machine in.
Yeah, coming along nicely. So, and that's what we were really curious about on that first run. So, yeah, the tuner there, that is Aaron Miller, said he set it up super soft, and the second time they got a lot closer, and he squeezed on the throttle hard that second pass, and it looked like everything went right. So
yeah,
be great to get him out here one more time, and
there it is.
Maybe they can get him from A to B under power. Very, very aggressive sled. Hats off to him.
Hey, man, everything Darrell does in racing is very aggressive. As you mentioned, he went 242 miles an hour.
Lake of the Ozarks shootout.
I was there and watched it happen. It was absolutely amazing in just a 3/4 of a mile window.
Well, and it wasn't a straight shot. The way the track ended up, there was a small bend in it. And the seasoned veteran guys, I think, set up, if I recall, set up far to the left so they could straighten that out down to the finish line. But Darrell, making a first run in that boat, had a lot of wheel in there. He had a lot of rudder in that thing.
He was driving it.
And, the boat was not necessarily happy. One of the best throttle men in all of boat racing sitting alongside him was not going to lift. So 242 miles an hour they went, and they set the record. But there's plenty more left inside of that boat.
That's exactly what Darrell said to me when he got out of the boat, and I was there to interview him. I said, well, and he goes, we got more.
Yeah, there's more in that boat.
We got more. Who knows what they do in 26.
we just learned today he's got a 5,000 horsepower Pro Mod sitting in the shop, ready to go racing.
Yeah.
And I think he bought a Top Fuel motorcycle from Larry McBride.
I've heard that too.
Other than that, he's not
just
doing
another
anything.
Day. Just another day. Man loves his speed, loves to give back to the racers, loves to give back to the race fans, and he is doing an amazing job in providing all of that with the world of the IHRA. And we are excited, Ken, to be a part of it.
We are.
You and I are going to be very, very busy this year with the International Hot Rod Association. You're going drag racing. You're going to have drag boats. I've got the offshore power boats. I've got the brand new stock car series, the F1 power boats, and we're both out here playing with the snowmobiles. Oh, by the way, you got truck and tractor pull, too.
Yes, tractor pull. Well, and fortunately, I've been doing that for 25 years in my career, so it's great to see it.
Going to be a busy summer. We're looking forward to it. Hope to have you folks along. Yeah.
For all the effort.
We're going to have it all for you on Speed Sport Networks.
Leah Martin, the president, just how she's keeping up with all of it, I don't know, but we thank her for everything she's doing as well.
One of the big news announcements coming out this week, congratulations to our good buddy Stacy Compton, who's been named the general manager of Pulaski. We're going to have our first stock car race of the year there.
Great.
So Stacy Compton, NASCAR star, going to be a part of the IHRA family. News breaking all the time with the IHRA, isn't it?
Every day.
Every day, something exciting.
So they start those things up kind of like they start a Pro Stock motorcycle.
Here's another one. Broke this week. The IHRA has signed up over 110 sanctioned racetracks for 2026 and beyond. How awesome is that? Over 110 facilities believing in Darrell Cuddle's vision, signing up to be a part of all the excitement for the IHRA.
And some historic tracks that are coming on board. Atlanta, Topeka,
Memphis.
Yeah,
Maple Grove.
Bringing back Maple Grove was a huge announcement. So, yeah, some really, really cool tracks along the way.
There's a good look at that GoPro remounted, ready to go. Darrell ready to give that 1400 Invader everything it can handle. Let's see what it does here in round 3, the final round here. Qualifying night. The IHRA Snow Outlaws at the World Finals on Spirit Lake.
Three
Lakes, Wisconsin.
It's go time.
Final chance to give it everything it's got to see what it'll do before we come back out here tomorrow for eliminations beginning middle of the day. I believe we're getting started around noon tomorrow, right?
Yes, sir. First pair. National anthem at 12 o'clock. So make sure you join us here on Speed Sport. We'll bring you all the racing action.
Yeah, we'll be on Speed Sport 2 tomorrow. Live and free. Tune in and enjoy it all no matter where you are. Watch on your phone, any connected device, your television, your iPad, wherever you are.
I think we had a pretty vigorous fan out here just a couple moments ago. So, Ralph's fans are vigorous. Yes,
fan. There's the one fan I've got.
He probably has plenty of antifreeze inside of him.
Gonna need it on a night like tonight.
Good look at Daryl Cuddle's Kawasaki-based sled. Zoomy pipe sticking out of the cowling there.
He's ready. See, he's just looking, waiting for them to tell him, give him the signal to fire it up and go. Starters in place.
That tells me that I don't think we're going to see Eagle 1 or R. Dustin.
Doesn't look like it, does it? Dominic Ernst and R. Dustin probably skipping this first or final round. Don't see Ethan Earhart either, do you? Yeah. Ethan's on the far lane. Daryl's over here on the near lane.
As I said before, I had a chance over there at Hogan's shop last night to sit and spend some time with Art Dustin. Just an outstanding gentleman. I mean, he's an incredible rider, and not much he doesn't know about a sled, as well as he was making a number of adjustments to another one of the sleds that they were working on. But I asked him, I said, okay, man, what's the R stand for? He said, that's it, dude. It's my name. I'm like, come on. Pulled his license out, showed it to me. R. Dustin. That's it. On the birth certificate, it's R. That's it. They said you could say it like a pirate if you want. Like, R. It's about as creative as you can get with it. But, man, what a great guy. He spent a lot of time with it, probably the better part of an hour with me, with just incredible information that he shared with me about these incredible sleds that are out here competing. Can't thank him enough.
Look at the focus in those eyes.
Future snowmobile racer right there.
Oh, yeah. For sure. Maybe another one right here.
Right. Nothing but love.
That's it. Thanks, buddy. Appreciate you. Right back at you.
And I'm surprised they have not sent a pair down. I mean, this is Craig is usually on it.
Gang having a good time out here. We were right across the street. There's a little restaurant, and you and I were over there earlier this afternoon having a bite for lunch. And my new buddy Jorg walked up to say hello. Jorg and his friends came all the way from Norway for the World Finals. They watched us on TV from Norway at St. Germain, thought it looked pretty cool, wanted to come check it out, so they flew over here for the World Finals, got here yesterday, going home on Sunday. So Art Dustin and Daryl Cuddle going to pair up in this final round of qualifying. In the near lane is Daryl Cuddle. In the far lane, there's the backside of Daryl's helmet. They ran a hybrid-backed machine, 1400 Invader Kawasaki-powered entry. And in that far lane, R. Dustin, ready to go in the 1.5 Hogan Racing entry. Good run for Daryl this time. Chute comes out. Boy, that's exactly what he wanted to see. A to B, no problem in the 1400 Invader.
Boy, sled looked really solid. Very, very comfortable there. Nothing moved around. He looked pretty confident on it as well.
Sure did.
Exactly what you want going into that last pass to go into race day.
Yep, and the GoPro stayed on board.
And the GoPro survived.
So our producer, Steve Grimes, very happy with that, too. And Daryl made a solo pass that time as Dustin didn't launch.
Yeah, real nice pass. Very comfortable. Congratulations, Daryl Cuddle.
And team, because that was a team effort, right? They said they knew they were very soft going into that.
I mean, they had to work with him, but hats off. I mean, the guts to get on one of these 1,000-plus horsepower machines and go out there and lay it down. It is not a game for the faint of heart.
Nope. There's Alec Gibbs.
Gibbs,
yep, on Spider-Man.
Boys out here having some fun. Another Friday night on the lake.
Yeah. So it looks like maybe Tyson Anderson and Jonathan Linskow are not going to make the.
Alec Gibbous on the Spider-Man. Once again tuned by Sheheen T, as we were talking about before. This is a turbocharged version of the Larry Gibbous-owned sleds.
Pretty color combination.
One exhaust pipe there in the front, the other one for the wastegate. And picture that one exhaust pipe in comparison to the 4 Zoomies from the Superchargers, and that's why we talk about the turbocharged machines don't have quite the downforce, and it makes a difference in comparison to the supercharged machines. They make big steam at the other end, though. They'll actually make a little more power, and in part because they don't require as much horsepower from the engine to turn the turbo as it does to turn a supercharger.
Ben Trollard right there giving the thumbs up. Ben's supposed to run alongside of Alec, and I'm thinking Alec might. Is he going to make a solo, or is Ben just waiting for the call?
Yeah, and I think it was Ben Trollard and the boys from the Fallout team that bought me a peppermint schnapps shot last night, which I've not had in probably 20 years. Nor did I know what it was. I just drank it. I will tell you, it warms you up quickly.
Yeah,
but it's pretty serious.
It'll do that. Here comes Spider-Man.
They were having fun.
Alec Gibbous. Waiting to see if Fallout with Ben. Yeah, here comes Fallout with Ben Trollard on board, ready to join him. His wife Leslie is the crew chief and tuner for Ben. Get it. Hammer Spider-Man. Trawler's going to be first one to the far end. Nice run for Fallout. Leslie did a great job setting that machine up.
Look at him drive that thing, man, at the other end. Ben really working
around on Ben.
The inline 4-cylinder there. He's calling somebody over immediately as well. So turbocharged versus that inline 4-cylinder, and you can see the advantage there at the starting line. The turbo really comes on hard at the finish line.
Watch Fallout here in the near lane.
But Trollard, man, that was a really good pass. Be really curious to see what the numbers are on that one for Trollard.
I wonder if he was just anxious to get back to the pit area, because it didn't sound or look like anything went wrong with the machine, did it? I didn't notice anything.
I didn't see anything. I mean, it looked like it tugged all the way to the finish line. So they'll put that's a big pad, like a piece of plastic. I guess the best way to try to describe it. It's like they're going to pick it up and protect the tracks down there as well. But
chisels or the studs.
But it's kind of like a piece of plastic, a large piece of plastic that will support the weight of the entire sled, and they can pull it back. It just slides very, very easily on the snow. But clearly does not want to drive it back for whatever reason.
No. Don't see anything leaking. Don't see any major issues. Wants to get it back to the attention of his wife, Leslie, his crew chief. Oh, watch out. There goes the chute.
It'll be all right. Good-looking sled. Nice pass.
Hey, man, every sled looks good when it goes that fast. All right?
Yes, sir.
Kelly Schiltz and Mike Sweeney should be seeing the Hulk and El Jefe. So now we're told it's going to be Art Dustin, who is supposed to be in the first pair, going to go here with Sweeney instead of Schiltz.
Sweeney with that great pass last time out. Art Dustin was really driving his. Looked like it wanted to go to the right a bit, and he was trying to keep it in the center. believe that's our there with Billy Hogan Racing. Sullivan on the John Deere Pro 55 still sitting back there in the wings. Right?
And that's that green and yellow machine you see just for the darkness. This will be the last pairing in the Outlaw category, and then we'll move on to Pro 55. There's El Jefe.
Really clean sled. They all are.
Mm-hmm.
Kyle Cook, the owner of that sled for Mike Sweeney out of Thomaston, Connecticut. I believe he went a 375 last time out here. Right there, as quick as anybody's gone from the numbers that I've been able to see so far. Here we go.
Final pair of Outlaws. R. Dustin on 1.5, as it's known. And that's the first pass that was not picture perfect for El Jefe. It started to pull right, and he got out of it.
Yeah, and it had picked the front end way up, so there's no way he was going to save it and keep it in the lane, so he had to get out of the throttle right away. However, on the other side,
look how happy
for R.
he
Dustin, R. excited, man. He's like, yes, that's what I'm talking about.
That's exactly what he needs. He knows it. To be competitive tomorrow. I'm sure that team has more passes down this 500-foot track than anybody else here, and they are dialed in and ready to go. Watch El Jefe launch here. And right there you can see he got way over to the right by the flags, and he got out of it quickly.
Look at R. Dustin, man, picked up the front end of that sled. That was on the gas all the way to the stripe.
Oh, yeah.
That was a great hit.
Beautiful run for R. Dustin.
Hoping I get a number from that one. Keep in mind, that's qualifying. That's a qualifying pass
for
right
the
there.
Outlaws,
He could have
yes.
gone to the number one spot right there.
Yep.
And if they run all 11, there's going to be bye runs along the way, so it could be very beneficial.
Hugely important to get that spot. Pro 55 next up. Nine competitors entered in Pro 55 here. And everybody in the category focused on Brian Sullivan because we have not seen the 7-time champion yet today. And everybody wants to know, what does that John Deere machine have here at Three Lakes? Kosman and Kyle Viney. Or it's going to be Jesse Bruns and Kyle Viney. It's supposed to be Kosman and Bruns. So Viney and Bruns.
Yeah, they're just going to pair people up here. A lot of people will take this third session off.
Viney's bad attitude did have a little bit of a bad attitude that time as it was dancing around on him a little bit about half track.
Yeah, picking the front end up, setting it back down as it spins the track just a little bit, loses some grip, and then picks it back up again.
He was a runner-up at the event St. Germain.
Yeah, speaking of bye runs. Woo. Left really hard. Nicely done. Yeah, he was able to get around Casey down in round number 2 there at St. Germain and then had that bye run into the final, as I was talking about before. So an uneven ladder, and those bye runs are critical.
So important. Sullivan could be up in this next group. The Santry here.
Tebow.
The 19 on the back of his gear. Borman. So Borman moves up a spot.
Pro-line.
Tebow moves down a spot.
Pro-line chassis for Borman. Part of the Mustakas J&J racing team. Yamaha power in the Red Rocket.
And Tebow with Suzuki power on a Pro Stock line chassis. Here they go. Lights on.
And the Red Rocket ready to go.
Mm-hmm. Got to believe we're going to see Sullivan next. That rocket looks like it's shut off about halfway down. There it is. Brian Sullivan out of Sparta, Wisconsin, and John Deere. Here he comes. Hypersports engine, Hypersports chassis, HRC ready to go. The 7-time Snow Outlaw champion on a solo pass. Look at that thing pick up the front and go A to B.
I told you that thing gets grip on a soft track.
Man. A little dialing in tomorrow. He's going to be ready to go, huh?
He is good to go.
It hasn't lost any of the power from St. Germain. That is for sure. Watch it again. Look at that launch. Look at that.
And what a great driver, too, right? Never phased. Like something might have kicked off or come off there, but just never phased. It left. Had good grip, and then the power came on, and it really picked the front end up.
Well, that should be it for Pro 55, and we should be moving on to our final category, Pro Mod. Another 9 competitors entered in this category this weekend. And we'll see how many come up for their final opportunity here on this Friday night.
Yeah, test and tune session, third and final one. So if they made the first couple, they might pass on this third one and save the parts and pieces, as you've talked about before, Ralph. Save a little bit of money. And you only get so many runs out of these things, and you get to rebuild them.
Yeah. And again, we're live on the air tomorrow, noon. That's noon local.
Yes, Central
time. That'll be on Speed Sport 2.
That pass that Ben Trollard went, looks like he went a 394. It's a good-looking pass.
Dan Bickle, Jagger Ashley looking to go here first.
Looking, I want to see if our Dustin post his time. He was visibly happy.
Yeah, he sure was.
Back in the Pro Modified category. Jagger Ashley there, who had such a great run at Lake St. Germain, put together the win in this very tough Pro Modified category. Watch him again in the far lane. It's been moving around there just a bit. We'll see if the track comes back to him tomorrow and get back, continue on, I should say, with his winning ways. 3 rounds working. 1, 2, 3, 4 rounds. My apologies. 4-round race at Lake St. Germain for the pro modified category. I believe that's Danny Hogan standing there alongside. Extremely talented racing. I believe that's Jimmy Trumbull sitting there. Saw Danny in action last night. Talk about riding a wheelie from one end to the other. No problem. The World Finals here with the Snow Outlaws. Great to be up here in the Northwoods. $6,000 to the winner in the Outlaw category, $3,000 the runner-up, Pro 55, $3,000 and $1,500, and then $2,250 here in this Pro Modified category for the champ. Runner-up receives $1,200. Round 1 at 12 o'clock Central Time, as Ralph had just mentioned a couple of moments ago. Round 2 scheduled for 1 o'clock or soon thereafter. Quarterfinals at 2 and semifinals at 3. Finals will happen at 4 o'clock. As the next pair makes their way down through there, I believe that was Jimmy Trumbull here in the near lane on the crumb.
And that's
Dante,
right? Dante Grotti, who's had solid runs all night long. Trumbull definitely pulled the trigger first, but Grotti picked it up at the far end.
And that might be a wrap.
I think
here
that might
tonight.
be it. So only a couple of pairs then in Pro Mod, deciding to take an opportunity here in this final session.
We're going to bring you a recap here and show you everything that went on in this third and final session.
Yeah, starting with the Outlaws. There goes Daryl Cuttle on his best run of the night. Solid pass for the 1400 Invader. I think Kawasaki powered machine blasting down through the snow, 500 feet long a track. Alec
Ken
Gibbs.
Trolard here in the near lane.
Yeah. Gibbs on Spider-Man in the left lane. And then we move on to El Jefe right there in the near lane.
Yeah, it was Mike Sweeney. Good run, but R. Dustin here in the far lane, or to your right, if you will.
Best run of the night for him. We're still waiting on the numbers on that one. Now we move on to Pro 55. And this is the Moustakis entries in here, I believe. That's the Red Rocket on the right, isn't it?
Yep, that's the Red Rocket, man. Put together a really nice effort here. Flexing some muscle.
And Sullivan, Brian Sullivan, the 7-time champ on the John Deere machine, letting everybody know he's ready for the World Finals tomorrow. And then we go on to Pro Mod.
Yeah, just a couple of pair here, getting some final runs in before they go to eliminations tomorrow. That's trouble there in the near lane.
Yeah, Grotti in the far lane. Dante had a fairly consistent night of his 3 runs. That last one, maybe not the best one of the 3, but I think he's going to be ready to go tomorrow as well. Hey, tomorrow on Speed Sport 2, noon Central Time, the IHRA Snow Outlaws, the World Finals coming your way live from here at 3 Lakes, Wisconsin. Going to be a spectacular day. Make sure you join us for all the action live and free on Speed Sport 2. For Dani, Medin, and Ken Stout, I'm Ralph Sheheen, our entire Windy City Productions crew. We'll see you out here tomorrow live on Speed Sport 2. Good night, everybody.